Hey guys, welcome back to Self-Care Haven. Today I'm going to be talking about street harassment. Now, what is street harassment? Street harassment in layman's terms is basically when a woman's body is treated like public space within a public space. So what do I mean by that? A woman could be on her way to work. She could be jogging. She could just be walking around, minding her own business, and then suddenly someone yells out to her, you're beautiful, like, oh yeah, shake that butt for me, or, just comments on her looks, her body, what she's wearing, makes any type of comment that objectifies her body and, um, kind of adds on to this idea that women's bodies are public space. And that's what street harassment really is. It's like a power play. It's unhealthy dynamic where men get to say whatever they want about our bodies and our looks, and they actually expect us to reciprocate the attention somehow. I've had street harassers who became angry that I didn't really respond to their harassment, and they would say like, "Don't you understand English? I called you beautiful," or some other annoying, obnoxious thing which kind of puts you down just because you are exercising your human right not to respond to strangers, like complete strangers. And street harassment can really take place anywhere. I know people associate it with just like sidewalks, but it can take place on the train, it can take place on a bus. I've even been harassed in a cab when I was paying for the cab service, and the guy actually turns to me in a very creepy way. He's like, "You look very nice." And I was like, "Excuse me? Like, I look very nice? Like, I just paid for you to drive me somewhere and you're not getting any services from me. Like, you gave me a service, but I don't have to reciprocate. I already paid for my service." So that's my little vent, my little spiel on some of my experiences. But street harassment can be, as subtle, as blatant. It can be someone telling you like, "Hey, smile, sweetie. Put that smile on your face." Like, first of all, my face is my own. This is my face. It's mine. I own this face. I don't have to smile if I don't want to. I'm smiling right now because I want to, but otherwise I don't have to smile at you or for anybody else, really. Have you ever heard of, somebody telling a man to smile? Hell no. And that's because men's bodies are not seen as property. Women's bodies are seen as properties in this patriarchal society. So street harassment is really indicative of a larger problem. And the larger problem is misogyny, it's rape culture. If you're not familiar with what rape culture is, it's basically a culture that advocates blaming the victim and releasing the perpetrator from blame. It refocuses blame on a victim's manner of dress and behavior. It treats women's bodies like public space, as women's bodies as you know something to take control of, something to take ownership of, and to exploit. And so that's what rape culture is. And I think street harassment is definitely one of the ways that we can see rape culture at work, because even though it might seem harmless, street harassment is really communicating to women that their bodies are not their own. Their bodies are public space. Men can comment, scrutinize, criticize, compliment all they want on our looks, our assets. And I'm not talking about the your bank account. I'm talking about your assets, your body shape, attractive features, whatever. And they can honk at you from the safe space of their car, which, by the way, I think I hate those types of harassers the most because they're just so disgusting and gross. Like, who honks at a woman? Like, you're honking at me like an animal? Like, what the hell? Do you really think that's going to catch my attention? Like, if anything, that makes me become more creeped out by your antics. And so remember that when the next time that you think that, it's just a compliment, remember that women feel dehumanized over time, and they feel demeaned when they constantly get harassed and they constantly face harassment from complete strangers. It might seem like a compliment, it might be flattering in some way, but at least that's the way it seems to you. But actually, it's not a compliment. It's actually an insult. It's saying, hey, I can comment on whatever I want, and if you don't reciprocate my attention, I'm just gonna harass you even more because you're my property, because you're a woman. And I'm sure there are polite ways to approach strangers that you like, but street harassers just don't know that way. They don't live that way of life, apparently. It's easier for them to like touch you and like grab you by the shoulder or put your hand on your shoulder. Like I had a guy who, I stepped backwards and I barely touched him, but he thought that was an invitation, and and this was an accident on my part, and he actually grabbed me by my shoulders and was like, "Oh, sorry, well, you don't need to touch me to apologize." And I told him, "Please don't touch me." Um, Men will find any excuse to touch you, and they think that it's okay. It's okay to put their hands on you because again, you're treated like property. It's very unlikely that they would act the same way around other men. But they see women as easy targets, and they see women as people to kind of exploit. And so remember that mentality and attitude when you think that street harassment is harmless, because it's really not harmless. Behind it is a malicious power play that the perpetrators might not even be aware of, because I know that the perpetrators don't walk around thinking, hey, guess who's going to contribute to the patriarchal attitudes of society today? Guess who's going to objectify a woman? Oh, yeah. No, none of them are really thinking that. It might not even be their intention to insult or demean women, but through their actions, that's what they end up doing. So the next time you think that it's a clever idea to call out to a woman on the street, remember that there are better alternatives to meeting people, and there are really non-creepy, non-invasive ways to do it. If you like someone, if you think they're attractive, I guess you can establish that bravery and connect with them by just going up to them and being like, hey, sorry to disturb you, I just want to tell you, you look very nice today. And do it in a very friendly, non-invasive manner. And don't get upset if she reacts in a way that you're not used to, or if she responds negatively, because that's the risk you took by approaching her in the first place. And under no circumstances should you ever make any physical contact, because she's a stranger and her body is her own. It's not public space. So remember that next time. And I hope you enjoy learning more about street harassment, and I hope it makes you think twice about complimenting a woman on the street.